So just again, lift and roll your shoulders, and we'll do that again. So inhaling, raise your arms up, reverse your palms, stretching up with your hands and pressing down with your feet. Breathing out, go to one side. So that's a lateral stretch. Just bounce in and out if you want to. Breathing in, come to the centre, stretch up, and breathing out, go to the other side and bounce. Breathing in, come to the centre. Breathing out, turn slightly to one side, it's a rotational movement. Breathing into the centre, and breathing out, turning as little or as much as you'd like to the other side. Coming to the centre. Keeping your hands up, just lift your heels. It's a balance. It invites the left and the right sides of the brains to coordinate with one another. And then breathing out, lower your heels and lower your hands to shoulder height. Breathing out, turn to look beyond the third fingers of one hand. Come into the centre of your head. And breathing out, turn to look beyond the third fingers of your other hand. Come into the centre. Lower your arms and lift and roll your shoulders. Sliding your hands down your legs, come to your shins, press your hands into your shins and lengthening from the tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, bend your knees and your elbows widen out to the side, bending your knees as little or as much as you would like. Breathe in, press your hands into your shins as you lengthen along the tailbone. Stay here as you breathe out. And as you next breathe in, soften your knees, press your feet into the ground and slide your hands up as you breathe in to standing, rolling vertebra by vertebra. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then carry on, clasping your hands behind your back and aim your knuckles towards the floor. And this opens you at the shoulder level here. You've got some lung meridians. So opening your shoulders opens your lungs and it's uplifting for the mood. Breathing out, turn to one side. Come to the centre and breathing out, turn to the other side. Come to the centre. Either stay like this, that's optional, or if you feel a little bit more that you would like to take this further, step your feet a little bit apart. Soften your knees and come forward, lifting up your hands. You only lift your hands once your head and neck is down. Press your feet into the ground to support you coming upright again. And separate your hands. Once more, lift and roll your shoulders. And now you can either hold your wrists or hold your elbows, or do something called reverse prayer. So you place the palms of your hands together. If you're not used to doing this, it really does feel as if you're opening up, especially around the little finger area. And your elbows, rather than just hanging down, are supposed to just slightly lift, and that's quite difficult. Breathing out, turn to the left, come to the centre, and breathing out, turn to the right. Come to the centre. Either stay like this or bending your knees, come forward. And if you can, consciously make an effort that your elbows don't droop, they lift up. But I do concede that sometimes your hands part. It's quite a difficult pose. Pressing your feet down, come up to the centre. Release your hands behind you and then inhaling, raising up, looking ahead or up, depending on your neck capacity, stretching your fingers. Your thumb comes towards you and your little finger goes away from you. And then breathing out, lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. So we switch now into what appears to be a similar pose as we raise our hands up, but this actually is skirting into Qigong, which is a breathwork system. Reverse your hands up. This looks very similar as you go to one side. The lateral stretch opens your intercostal muscles, so it's good for opening your lung capacity. Breathing in, come to the centre. And breathing out, go to the other side. Come to the centre. Breathing out, turn to one side. Come to the centre. And breathing out, turn to the other side. Come to the centre. Lower your hands. Step your feet out to hip width apart. And here there's a choice. You can soften your knees to come down, but you only come down as little or as much as you would like. So you're softening your knees. I'm going to be coming down. And when my hands reach just above the floor, I'm going to turn to the left, over my left foot, come to the centre, and I'm going to breathe out and turn to my right. My bent knees are supporting my upper torso. Come to the centre. Separate your hands. Perhaps bring your feet so that they are parallel if they've drifted. Mine have. And then slide your hands down the backs of your calves and bend in as little or as much as you would like. And you'll feel your lower back opening. If you want to explore lengthening the backs of your legs, you can begin to straighten your knees, and you'll really feel this at the back of your legs. Wherever you are, now soften your knees by bending them, press your feet down into the ground, and you can either roll up vertebra by vertebra or use your hands to trace your movement upwards to standing. So this very strange next movement, you place your hands just below your navel. Your arm length will dictate where your hands are. And this is the hara, or the dantian in the Chinese system. So breathing in and then breathing out. You're just almost going over your head. And this very strange exercise can be quite calming, strangely. And it's effectively sweeping what they call the aura, your electrical field. So it's breaking the connection between you and the outside world. So it's de-stressing. It's just, if you'd be in a very busy place, it's just very clearing and cleansing. And then breathing out, lower your hands. And then this is very interesting. Bringing your hands up, you are almost flying as you bend your knees and your ankles. So you'll feel every joint is moving. So your ankles, your knees, your shoulders. If it's too much, just keep your elbows bent. Only bend your knees to where you're comfortable. Everything is moving. Your ribs are lifting as you breathe in, and then everything is going down as you breathe out. The fingers you can stretch them, the space between the fingers. It's a really excellent weight-bearing and general health movement that you control yourself. And then bringing your hands once more back to the dantian. And you'll notice that your elbows are out slightly. You can increase that sense by bringing your hands to your waist. And this is opening you out under the arms, so it's your lymph system, your energetic immune system is being given space here. But then also you're giving space for your lungs by opening up. And you'll find that some people will concentrate on one lung at a time. And actually in the Royal Brompton, they do a number of, it's a lung specialist hospital, they do a number of exercises, and this is one of them apparently. So quite interesting. And then just release your hands and lift and roll your shoulders. Just gently turn your head as little or as much as you like to go over one shoulder. You might not go there. As we get older, when we're driving, people sometimes can't turn their head to check what's coming. Bring your head back to the centre. And this simple exercise will go a long way to correcting that. Turn as little or as much as you'd like over the other shoulder. And then come to the centre. So we're going to walk to the top of our mats, and we're going to do a salute to the sun practice, which is going to be modified. So I'm going to emphasise that and going to emphasise that we've just opened the window here. I'm just going to emphasise bending your knees as much as possible. So hopefully this is very gentle. Inhale, exhale, hands together at the heart centre. Inhale, stretch your hands up and either look straight ahead or look up. Stretch your fingers, that links into your heart. Breathing out, bend your elbows and bend your knees as you bend as much as you need to bring your hands down to the ground, supporting your weight. And then step or slide your right foot back and your right knee goes on the ground. Your toes are either flat or tucked under. Step or slide your left knee back so you're actually now kneeling in cat. Hands are on the ground, hip width apart, or shoulder width apart, and knees are hip width apart. Breathing in, dip your back and either look along the mat or look up. Feel your lower abdomen engage. Breathing out round, your chin comes to your chest. Breathing in, dipping your back. Looking up or along the mat. And then as you breathe out, you're rounding chin to chest. Tuck the toes under. Bring your bottom back towards your heels so that the weight of your bottom is slightly away from your knees. And then lift one knee and lift the other knee. Tummy comes in as you push back into a soft downward dog, lengthening your spine first. And then begin to straighten your legs. And you are perfectly permitted to move your feet so that they're wider than hip width apart. Bend one knee and then bend the other knee. You're walking the dog. Bend one knee and then the other knee. And you can sway your hips from side to side. And then bend both knees back down to the ground. Your hands go to the left, which gives space for your right foot to come up. Your hands then go either side of your right foot. You can explore letting your knee drift forward because your hands are supporting your weight and it stretches you out at the thigh level. Tuck your back left toes under and feel that you're engaging your lower abdomen into your spine so that you're not letting everything hang out. Lift up your back left knee and then step or slide your left foot to your right foot. And then place your hands onto your shins and have a sense of lengthening as you breathe in from your tailbone to the top of your head, and you'll find that your chin tucks in slightly. This activates the vagus nerve, and I'll come to that in a moment. Breathe out, bend your knees and widen your elbows. Breathe in, press your hands into your shins and you lengthen along the spine. Stay here as you breathe out. And then softening your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then carry on lifting and raising your hands up to the ceiling. Stretch your fingers, either look ahead or look up to your thumbs. And then breathing out, lower your hands back down to your side. We'll come to the left side as we this time lift and roll the shoulders. Clasp the hands behind us, aim the knuckles to the ground, and that opens your shoulders. Separate your hands behind you, and then slide your hands as you bend your knees down the backs of your legs. Hands either side, and then slide or step your left foot back. Bend it, and then bring it to the ground. And then slide or step your right foot back. You're in cat. So you're taking time to adjust your knees. Your thumb and second finger are pressing into the ground and you're straight from the tailbone all the way to the top of your head. Breathing in, dip your back and look either along the floor or up. And breathing out round, chin to chest. Breathing in, dip your back. And breathing out round, chin to chest, as you begin to tuck your toes underneath you.
Engage your lower abdomen or your tummy towards your spine and bring your weight slightly away from your knees, either lifting both knees together or one and then the other to come into a very soft dog, lengthening your spine and then begin to straighten your legs. Your heels aim towards the floor. They don't have to touch the floor, and you can feel free to adjust your legs. The wider you make them, the easier it is on your lower back, and then you can begin to walk the dog by bending one knee and then the other knee. You can sway your hips from side to side, and then you can actually bend both knees and then lengthen, bend both knees and then lengthen. Just attention to your lower abdomen, that it's not all hanging out. Engage it slightly, 10%, 20% of your capacity, and then bend both knees as you come back down to the ground. And your hands go to the right, and that gives space for your left foot to come up. Hands either side of your left foot. You can just bring your knee slightly forward because your hands are supporting the weight of your body. And then tucking your back right toe underneath, engage your abdomen, perineum slightly engages up, lift your back right knee, and then step or slide your right foot to your left foot. Press your hands on your shins as you breathe in. And then breathe out, bend in, elbows out. Inhaling, press your hands on your shin, the chin to the chest and the vagus nerve. If you activate the vagus nerve, breathing out, bend your knees, elbows out. And then next time, press your hands into your shin and stay here as you breathe out. So activating the vagus nerve is very good for anti-inflammation. And then soften your knees as you press your feet down into the ground. And roll up vertebra by vertebra. This lifting and rolling your shoulders when you're upright opens the gateways, the pathways of energy into your head, and it allows the left and the right brains to begin to communicate. So to enhance that communication, which is very much within the dementias, where energy is blocked, it doesn't get up into the brain. So for us, at this stage, you can invite the body to left-right brain hemisphere, coordinate by hands on the waist and lifting your heels. And to make that easier, bring your heels slightly down so that they're a millimetre off the ground as the weight goes into the heels, and that's a slightly easier balance. And then just bring your feet to the ground. Feet slightly wider than hip width apart, and then do something that you're very familiar with, sway from side to side. Leading with your navel, you'll find this in a number of Eastern and Far Eastern practices, like Tai Chi. You'll find it in yoga, but in Tibetan yoga, so again, quite Eastern. It moves all 5 energies of your body. And so illness is defined as a stagnation of energy, and so this is believed to just free up the whole body. In Yantra Yoga, which is the medicine side of Tibetan yoga, they make it more extreme by bringing the hands right up to the shoulders and we're slapping the shoulders. And in the traditional Tibetan practice, they just swirl round and round in a circle to the right, which we don't do because it can make you very dizzy. But that is because it swirls your perception, and if you're not really aware of what you're doing the way you are in a state of mindfulness because you are very much in the present moment. So that's part of that, although again, that's another whole conversation. And then just lift and roll your shoulders and bring your feet to hip width apart. Press your big toe down. Press your little toe down, and then all the other toes should align what I call properly. Lift and roll your shoulders, and just be aware for a moment of all the energy swirling around. And then inhaling, raise your arms up, stretch your fingers. Breathing out, lower your arms down alongside you. And again, we're going to do this several times as we breathe in. Stretching up and breathing out. So this becomes a movement combined with breath,
And it almost comes into a meditative posture as well. If you coordinate your breath with your movement, you have a direct impact on your nervous system. So you're beginning to calm your nervous system down. Breathing in, coming up, and breathing out, coming down. If your shoulders are hurting or that's not right, you can always bend your elbows as you're coming up, and don't come up so far, just limit how far you come, and then breathing out. And then we'll make this the last time. Coming up, hold the breath in, stretch your fingers. When you're ready to, breathe out and lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. So we're going to do something quite similar. Rest your left hand on your lower back. Breathing in, raise your right hand. Breathing out, bend your knees as much as you need to come down. Now how far you come down is up to you. The classic exercise is right to the floor, but if that's too much, then just hold your shin and come to where is appropriate for you. Press your feet down as you roll up. And we do that again. If you need to adjust your feet to widen it up, please do. It makes it easier on your lower back. Breathing out, roll down. Press your feet into the ground as you now roll up. And take whatever support is appropriate, particularly for anybody's knees. So as you're bending, you might only bend a little bit and just have your hand there. That's fine. Press your feet down as you roll up. And breathing out, roll down. And then coming up to standing and lowering your arm. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then place your right hand on your lower back. And we'll do the same on the other side. You can also bend your elbow in to lift it up if that is better for you. Lifting your arm up, stretching up, and breathing out, bending as little or as much as you would like to come down. And breathing in, rolling up, stretching up, breathing out, rolling down. The purpose of doing what they call this an asymmetrical pose is that when you do one side at a time, you tend to do it more thoroughly, but you also tend to notice imbalances on either side. It gives you an opportunity to explore different parts of you. And lifting up. And we'll make the next one the last one. Lift up, stretch up, and when you're ready, lowering your hand, releasing both hands, lifting and rolling your shoulders. So in traditional yoga, once you've made a certain amount of movements, the invitation is to spend a few breaths relaxing in Shavasana on the floor before we move on to the next movements. And that is to give your body a chance to absorb the movement you've made, to recalibrate before you move on again. So come to bending your knees and coming to the floor, however suits you. So I'm going to bring my bottom to the side, stretch my legs out, and just come to lying on the floor. And while we're down here, just have your feet going out to the side. Your palms can be palms up, shoulders slightly away from your shoulders, or you can bend your elbows and rest your hands on your abdomen. Whichever position you choose, just extend your heels away from you so that your toes go up to the ceiling,
And breathing out, point your toes slightly away from you. You'll feel the stretches on the top of your foot, and this activates the lymph system in your foot in reflexology, as I understand it. Extend your heels, toes up, and then toes away. And then just gently circle both ankles in one direction. And then gently circle both ankles in the other direction. And then just relax and take an in and out breath with your feet just out to the side. And then bend one knee and then the other knee up and into your chest. So you hold both knees and just enjoy rocking very gently from side to side. Check that your chin is not sticking up to the ceiling. Just if it is, then have a sense of lengthening your neck at the back, so that your chin is not shooting up, and that your neck is straight. You're still rocking from side to side. Come to the centre. Breathing in, soles of the feet go to the ceiling and hands go up like a dead bug, and then behind you, you can bend your elbows. Your hands can touch the floor or aim in that direction. And then breathing out, bend your knees back into your chest, hugging your knees into your chest. And again, breathing in, soles of the feet go to the ceiling and extend your heels. Your legs will go into a subtle V, arms behind you. You can stretch out your arms as little or as much as you would like. And breathing out, bend your knees back in, hugging your knees into your chest. And then again, breathing in, soles of the feet extend, arms behind you. And as you extend your heels, just have a sense of the muscles either side of your legs engaging. Breathing out, hugging your knees into your chest. When we walk, we can, or any exercise that we can do, we can sometimes just, whatever reason, switch off muscles. And extending your heels is a very good way of just checking. Breathing in, extending your feet up, arms behind you, just stretching as little or as much as you like behind you. And then when you're ready, start breathing out and then lower your arms and hug your knees back into your chest. And this time keep your knees hugging into your chest and just very gently rock from side to side. And how much you rock is up to you. You can really rock over to one side so that your elbow's on the ground, or just make it a little rock. Entirely up to you. And then drop your hands to under your thighs and place one foot and then the other foot on the floor so that your feet are hip width apart, your knees are up to the ceiling, and your hands now are palms down alongside you. Feel you can press with your feet to adjust your bottom. And we're going to start with a very gentle pelvic tilt, so pressing your feet into the ground. Go to lift your bottom up, but you're just lifting a tiny amount. You're not really lifting your back off the ground at this point. And then just relax and release, go the other way. And there'll be a little gap under your lower back as you relax the other way. So it is just a pelvic tilt, however you'd like to do it. And repeat that a couple of times. Just moving the lower spine, and yet you're so supported by the ground and the mat. So it becomes a very, very safe back mobilisation. And we're now going to come into a very soft movement for bridge. So for anybody, alignment is key, but particularly if you have knee issues. So we're going to be pressing our feet down and lifting our bottom. But as we do that, imagine someone holding your knees, standing in front of you and holding your knees, so that your knees don't splay out.
or put extra straining on your knees. And also only lift as much as you want to. It could be a millimetre off the ground. But pressing your feet down, lift your bottom, slightly engage your perineum, slightly your back naturally, your tummy naturally comes in, chin comes in, and then you can additionally raise your arms up behind you so that your chin really comes in. And how much you lift up is up to you, but just check that your knees aren't splaying out. And you'll feel this on the front of your thighs, very good for your white blood cells. Breathing out, lower your bottom to the ground, vertebra by vertebra, and lower your arms. The white blood cells, are manufactured, one of the main manufacturing sites is in your top legs, in the marrow, in the bone marrow. And then breathing out, press your feet down, lift up, breathing in, and just lift your arms up, your chin tucks down. You lift as little or as much as you would like. Just feel that your legs aren't splaying out. And then when you're ready, start to breathe out, and you'll find that your legs and arms naturally follow your breath pattern, and it becomes less effort to lower down. And then this next one, pressing your feet down, lifting up again as we did before. You can bend at the elbows, stretch your arms as little as much as you would like, and then breathing out, lower your bottom back down to the floor. Hug your knees once more into your chest. Drop your hands to mid-thighs as you stretch your legs out and up in a V. Extend your heels. Breathing out, bend your knees. Breathing in, extend your feet upwards. And then you can either stay like this, or if you want to have an additional abdominal workout, bring one hand under your head and neck to support you, lift up your head and neck with supported, and bring your other hand through your V. You'll feel your abdominal coming on. Breathing out, just lower. And you can do the same again, either supporting your head and neck, but if you're really strong in your core, then you would hold your hands together and have no support under your head and neck. And that will lift as you lift up. Your hands through the V, it's a stronger pull on the lower abdominal muscles. But careful not to strain your neck. And then support your legs just above the knee as you bend both knees in, and then remove your hands to hug your knees into your chest and just rock gently from side to side. And now you're still going to be hugging your knees into your chest. Keep hold of your knees at all times. Hug them into your chest as you breathe out. And as you breathe in, you're still holding your knees, but you're letting your knees just travel away from you to arm's length. Breathe out, hug your knees into your chest. And breathing in, you're still holding your knees as you let your knees travel away to arm's length. Hug your knees into your chest, breathe out. And then breathing in, let your knees travel away. So you're massaging up and down your spine lengthways rather than from side to side. Breathing out, hug your knees into your chest. And just let them drift away from you. And breathing, hug your knees into your chest as you breathe out. And breathing in, let them travel away from you. Now notice whether your hands are doing the pulling in or whether your tummy is. Most people, it's very relaxing to let your hands do the work. So you can just have your fingers resting lightly on your knees, fingers down, pointing downwards, and just use your stomach muscles, your abdominal muscles, to pull your knees into the chest and feel the difference. So in yoga, if you're being very correct, you would let your abdominal muscles do the work of pulling in. But it is very comforting to let your hands do the work. just a subtle difference and your choice. And then very gently, just now hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side. Support your legs under the thighs, let one foot and then the other foot come down to the floor. And have your hands either palms down beside you or on your abdomen with your elbows out. Your feet are slightly wider than hip width apart. As you let both knees drop to one side, one knee will go into the centre, your hip will lift off the ground. Bring both knees back to the centre and let both knees drift over to the other side as the other hip lifts. Bring both knees to the centre, and once you've established that swaying from side to side, there's the invitation, and it is optional, to let your head drift in the opposite direction of your knees. And if you do that, then you're moving the spine at the base and the top. So you're really safely moving your spine. And this forms part of something called the somatic movement, which is very much part of the anti-aging, where the muscles as we grow older just subtly contract. And in subtle contraction we pull in slightly. So this is going one way to exploring or rectifying that. And if you want to do the top part, just keep for a moment your knees central. You can open your arms out at like a T at shoulder height, palms down, and then explore rotating your palm upward and breathing out, rotate your palm down. Your arm is supported by the ground, but by rotating the palm up and then breathing out, rotating the palms down, you're equally moving the top of the arm and the shoulder socket. And this can also pull and contract as we get older. And so this goes a very long way to rectifying that particular part of the ageing process that some of us here don't need to worry about, but it's just there for information. And then basically bringing your arms in and once more hugging your knees into your chest. And you can either roll to your side to come up, taking your time. We're going to come to kneeling. Or you can just rock up. However, come to, in your own time and very gently, to a kneeling position. And coming to, if you're okay to kneel, up. If not, then just come to hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. You're not going to be staying here very long. So inhaling, kneeling up, stretching up, and breathing out, lowering the arms. Bringing the hands to the ground, sliding the hands along the mat so that your elbows are resting on the ground and you're in a very supported, not a child, but just a rounded position. Breathing in, slide your hands towards your knees as you kneel up. If this is not good for you, then just come to lying on your back, hugging your knees into your chest. Hands up. Breathing out, bending your elbows, rolling down. Hands to the ground, sliding them along to elbows, and let the elbows and hands support your weight. And then sliding your hands to your knees, kneeling up, stretching up. You can either look ahead or looking up. Looking up is harder on the balance. Coming back down. Sliding your hands along so that you're resting your hands and your elbows on the floor, your bottom's up in the air. Just very gently move your bottom from side to side. And then bring your bottom towards your heels to move your bottom to the side and come to a gentle seated position. Now, if cross leg is not good for you, then just have your legs out in front of you.
be comfortable. Have your legs out by all means if that's not great. And then hands on the backs of the hands resting on the legs. And this is a breathwork exercise, but it encourages the left and the right brain hemispheres to communicate with one another. So what you're going to be doing is touching thumb to second finger. I'm holding my hands up so that you can see that you're actually resting it down. Second finger, third finger, fourth finger and little finger, and then we go back to the beginning. And it's you can just do that. The classic way is to do a mantra which represents a circle of life. So you go sa, ta, na, ma. You don't have to say it out loud, or you can. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa is birth, ta is life, na is death, and ma is rebirth. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 And last one, sa, ta, na, ma. Just take a couple of breaths. And now think of a thought for yourself, a thought for the day ahead, for yourself or someone close to you. Wishing them, it's a simple wish, it's called a sankalpa in yoga, so setting your intention. And just mentally think of that wish that you have for yourself or somebody else. And just mentally repeat that a couple of times to set your intention for the day. And then bring your hands to your heart, take a bow for yourself, to have a lovely day ahead. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining me.